Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Yankees hold on to win the series against the Texas Rangers. And it was kind of similar in some ways to the Angels series, where the first two games was actually part of a doubleheader, which was split. And again, the Yankees won handily in game one, kind of as they did in the Angels series, although that one got a little bit close. And then game two, they ended up getting just destroyed. The difference was in that Angel one, it was right away. This was a little bit more of a slow burn where the bullpen kind of imploded. But then game three, the Yankees won, and it got a little bit too close for comfort. It did. Yankees should have walked away from that one kind of unscathed, and the important thing is that they got the win, but Clay Holmes ends up throwing 45 pitches. We'll get into it. And the Yankees hang on to win by one. So they leave the weekend tied with the Baltimore Orioles at 70-49, not only tied in the American League East, but all of Major League Baseball as well. So the Orioles the Orioles win 2 of 3 at Tampa. They were going for the sweep, almost got it, but it's hard to sweep series. It's pretty much a logjam up top in the American League and in all of the majors. You have 5 teams with 49 losses: Yankees and Orioles, the Cleveland Guardians, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then even the Milwaukee Brewers. They have 50 losses, so it's pretty congested up at the top, and none of those teams have an above 600 win percentage. So no one's really, like I've said previously, a lot of these teams have flaws. I don't see right now any one great team. It's kind of wide open in a lot of ways when you look at it, but Yankees end the homestand 5-4. Not great considering the 3 teams involved, but could have been worse. 5-4 is kind of the bare minimum that's okay. Anything less than that would have been unacceptable. But you have to factor in there was a couple of doubleheaders, and I know that they are tough to win. A lot of those do end up being splits, and that's what happens. So yeah, I think objectively it was losing 2 or 3 to the Angels that was one where you would have liked to have won that series, right? You win 2 of 3 against the Blue Jays. You win 2 of 3 against Texas. And to me, that's all well and good. It was the Angels series that was a little bit upsetting, but, I guess there's reasons for that. But the starting rotation, really good. Between Carlos Rodon, Garrett Cole, and Marcus Stroman, they did a really, really nice job against what is a still very imposing Texas lineup. Are they at full strength? Are they what they were last season? No, but still very dangerous. So the rotation, I think, was a definite plus in this 3-game set. The bullpen, on the other hand, not good. And the first game was actually fine, where Ron Marinaccio did a nice job as the 27th man, ended up going more than 2 innings, did well in a situation where the Yankees were up by a lot, but still. But then Luke Weaver had a really, really rough go. We'll get more into that as the episode moves forward. But Luke Weaver, Michael Tonkin, and then in game 3, it was Mark Leiter Jr. and Clay Holmes. And so, the bullpen, you don't leave this series feeling great about them. As far as the lineup goes, more good than bad. Definitely more good than bad. That the Yankee lineup, they can be a bit feast or famine, but you know what? They've done a pretty good job of late. I got to give them credit there, even though I think that, and look, you're going to have your issues. You're going to have definite, for example, the Yankees versus lefties. I still don't feel great about that, but with Giancarlo Stanton coming back and looking good, that's a big, big thing. So Stanton, sometimes it takes him a while after he's been out. The stats weren't great, but the good part was he wasn't striking out all that much, at all. And now the home runs are coming. So now he's hit a couple of homers, and just there's a presence to him at the plate. That's really important. Him in the middle of that lineup, if the Yankees are going to go and get to where they need to get to, Stanton's going to be a part of it. So that was good. Soto hits a couple of home runs in game 3. So does Aaron Judge, hits a home run himself, and he had a really good games 1 and 3. On the negative side, Anthony Volpe, I believe it now sits at 0 for his last 22 with a lot of strikeouts. So that was the thing. As much as I gave him credit, and deservedly so, like within that, I still felt like, I don't know. Because right at one point it was 5 homers in 11 games or something to that effect, which is really good. But I don't know. Like he is very streaky. We know he's a young player, but yeah, I'm a little bit concerned's not the right word. It's just you kind of have to live with it. You kind of, like I guess the disappointing thing was if you remember, he had hurt his foot in the last game of the Angels series. And then they had a day off. Friday ends up being a rain out. Now, the weather ended up not being all that bad, but you kind of knew that they were going to wash that one out, and they did early, well before the game started. And with that said, it's kind of unfair to me that Oswaldo Cabrera didn't start either of the games in the doubleheader. And that, to me, would have been a situation where, hey, Volpe is a little banged up. He's been struggling a little bit. And you know what? Let's just have Oswaldo against the righty in game one. Let him get that start at shortstop. They don't do it. Now, the ironic thing is he actually comes in relief because Trent Grisham, who it sounds like he's going to be fine, he gets hit by a pitch. And so they move Chisholm over to center. We're going to talk about Jazz Chisholm. Some good things, some not so good things with Jazz in the series. But Oswaldo goes to third, and what do you know? He ends up, he ends up getting a hit. He was a lefty versus a lefty. So he continues to contribute, even knowing that he's not getting a whole lot of playing time. But yeah, let's get into the series. And I've already kind of done so, but let me kind of go into things on a more individual basis with the hitters. So Alex Verdugo, the interesting thing there is that he batted leadoff against a lefty in game two. And I guess, look, they've shown that, but I think we've seen it two ways. We've seen Glaber lead off versus righties at times and Verdugo lead off versus lefties in certain situations. So the point there is that those two have been the primary leadoff hitters, and it'll probably continue to stay that way. Verdugo, he's been pretty good lately. Like, just not even thinking about the stats, because I don't know that the stats are necessarily all that good in this series, but he's been hitting the ball pretty well. Like, he looks better, making better contact. The numbers overall, not really anywhere near where you'd want them to be on the season. It's been a disappointment. If you showed me the stat line that he has, I'd be like, wow, that's definitely way worse than I would have hoped for. But that said, he's been fine. Juan Soto, typically within a 3-game set, he's going to make his impact. And he certainly did that with a couple of homers off of lefties in game 3. He's up to 30 homers on the season. He is going to, in all likelihood, have a career high in home runs by a pretty wide margin as well, it looks like. So, Soto continues to have an MVP level season, but that guy Aaron Judge kind of has something to say about that in terms of the American League MVP. And, Judge just some of these games, it's like 3 for 4, forgetting about the home runs, just 3 for 4 with a walk. And it's kind of just the norm. So yeah, Aaron Judge, his batting average is right around, I'll get there in the last game, but it's around like 325 or 326, which is just insane. This has been a better season on the offensive side for Judge this year than the 2022 season where he broke the home run record. And he was amazing that year. He's been better this year offensively. The one thing I'm going to say about Judge, and this might not be a popular opinion, and it's not getting talked about that much, his center field defense really isn't all that great. He doesn't, I wouldn't say he particularly hurts you, but he is a great right fielder. And it's, I think as time moves on here, as, like the 2025 Yankees come into shape, I think things will look different, with Dominguez coming up and seeing how things shake out with Soto and whatnot. So, but yeah, I do think that Judge, I'm not sure what others think, but yeah, the center field defense leaves a little bit to be desired. But again, it's certainly good enough that, it's not a huge deal. Giancarlo Stanton, like I said, really solid couple of games. He didn't start game 1, but really looking good in games 2 and 3. Like what I'm seeing from Giancarlo at this point. Austin Wells continues to just be pure consistency from Austin Wells. There aren't many games that he's going to go without at least getting a hit. And, the overall season numbers continue to improve. This is an important, kind of unsung hero for this Yankee club. Like Wells was someone that in September last season, you could see him kind of coming on and gaining confidence, and it was good. That was one, because that was last season was just tough. That was a pretty brutal Yankee season, but Wells was one of those guys like, wow, like he looks pretty good. I didn't know what to expect coming to the season, but after a slow start, which a lot of it was just being unlucky, truly, he is showing that. I mean, defensively, just putting up great at bats. Yeah, Austin Wells continues to do well. Gleyber Torres, Gleyber, not really a big series for Gleyber, as I remember it. But nothing that comes to mind that was terribly awful. The scary thing with him is the very last out that Clay Holmes records in the third game, the rubber game. Gleyber like kind of stumbles just ever so slightly, but he does make the play. So Gleyber, there's always that concern with him, I gotta say. And to me, like, I think in the playoffs, like, Gleyber is someone I worry about. More so defensively, but yeah, like, he is a thrill a minute, Torres. Jazz Chisholm. With him, definitely a much better offensive series, as he had kind of had some struggles previously. But yeah, he what was the stat? 7 homers in his first 12 games, which I believe was a record of some sort. I forget the specifics behind it. There was a certain criteria, but 7 homers in 12 games as a Yankee. So yeah, he's hitting for power, and just overall the stats have been good, even though the strikeouts have been a little bit higher than I'd like. But that is kind of part of his game. It is. I think that he's capable of cutting that down. The problem was this: there was a couple of really sort of bad, boneheaded plays. In one case, boneheaded. In another place, just a little bit being indecisive. But yeah, third base. I think that Chisholm Jr. has a chance to be a really good third baseman, actually, like in terms of his athleticism, like his instincts. So it's not a matter. That's not the concern. But there was just like a couple of things that we're going to talk about that were not great from Jazz. Anthony Volpe, who I discussed, just bad, really, really bad, to the point where I think it's probably sensible to give him, well, we'll see. Because, but I think the White Sox have a lefty in game one, and so it's not really necessarily fair to Oswaldo. He's not as good against lefties. The point is, I think Volpe, he's on the verge of just maybe having a game to sit. Maybe not, because we know Volpe, like, he's one of those rare guys that, if he's healthy, he's pretty much playing every game, but he's been, like I said, like 0 for 22, and I want to say that, like, at least or around half of those outs are via the strikeout. Ben Rice, we didn't see a whole lot of Ben Rice as LeMahieu started 2 of the 3 games, but Ben Rice, when he's been in there, he's been fine. The numbers aren't all that great, but I'll continue to say Rice, similar to Wells, like the bat quality is good. He's not getting the results that Wells is getting, but yeah, Rice has been fine. Trent Grisham got hit by a pitch in game 1. I think he's going to be all right, which is good because honestly, Trent, I think he's been a pretty positive player for this team the last couple of months. I don't like sort of there's a bit of a laziness to the way he plays. That's not a great word to use, but it's just true. But I think he's a threat at the plate, and we know he's a good defender. We know that. So yeah, so Grisham, I want him healthy. As Waldo, didn't see him much this series, but when he was in there, was fine. And then, like I said, LeMahieu, he is looking better. Yeah, and I was so down on him, and I still think there's a lot of room for growth, a lot more to go with him. But yeah, we're seeing the old DJ that is spraying the ball kind of all over the field with some authority, with some line drives. He's not just pounding into the ground. So to see that he's capable of it is very encouraging, right? Because I wasn't sure that we'd see it again. So yeah, that was good. But yeah, let's now, talk about this game, and please like and subscribe. That would be very helpful to the channel, and it would be much appreciated. So Carlos Rodon, he has been a bright spot of late, and that only continued. He improves to 13-7, goes 5 2/3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 5 walks, which is certainly high. and 6 strikeouts. So, with Rodon and a lot of these pitchers, would you want them to get a little bit deeper into games? Yes, you would. I wish that they were a little bit, more pitch efficient, but it's not always going to happen. Rodon ends up throwing 110 pitches and doesn't even go 6 innings. But yeah, like this type, what Rodon has done, keep this going. Keep this going. He is solidifying himself as a very important part of this rotation come playoff time. So yeah, like the last, I want to say, maybe, I don't know, maybe less than a month. But it's been a bit now, right? Like maybe his last 4 starts have been a good brand of Carlos Rodon and really showing himself as a good pitcher in different ways and more, and not just the fastball slider. Incorporating the changeup, incorporating the curve. So that's been good to see because my problem last year was I'm thinking, like, how is this gonna? How are you gonna work as a 2-pitch pitcher? But now he's utilizing different pitches, and I think that it's throwing hitters off. Former Yankee Nate Eovaldi, rough go, and he's given the Yankees problems over the years. But Eovaldi loses, and he's had a pretty good year actually for Texas. I think he was hurt for a little bit of time, but 3 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. So throws 81 pitches in 3 innings. So the Yankees were putting together some very solid at bats, and that was good to see. So Yankees take the lead in the first inning. And it would be a couple of singles by Soto and Judge. With 2 out, Gleyber Torres gets the Yankees on the board with an RBI single. So, yeah, that's the thing. I think Gleyber as well, I think maybe in game 2, I think he also had an RBI single to put him up 1-0. So Gleyber was getting in the mix. He wasn't really a main feature. He wasn't really, but yeah, Gleyber, kind of a ho-hum series for him. But yeah, gets that RBI single there, makes it 1-0. And then let's jump to the third. And it's, again, Soto walk, Judge single, and what do you know? Austin Wells with an RBI with a 2-run double to give the Yankees a 3-0 lead. And that was where Trent Grisham, that was the inning where, was it the inning? Maybe not. I think I might have. So it was the 4th. So Brock Burke, the lefty, comes on and hits Grisham. Grisham would actually stay in the game and would actually score on an Aaron Judge RBI double. And then you get an Austin Wells 2-run single. So Wells, at this point, has 3 RBIs, gives the Yankees a 6-0 lead. And then that's where in the 5th, they take Grisham out. Chisholm goes from third to center, and Oswaldo Cabrera comes in to play third base. Bottom of the 5th, Yankees score another run on an RBI ground out by Soto. And this is the inning where Oswaldo, as a lefty, we've seen a little bit more lately, gets a double against the lefty Burke. So 7-0 Yanks. 6th inning, Rodon gives up a 2-out ground rule double to Adolis Garcia, and they take him out. Got a good standing ovation by the Yankee Stadium faithful. And yeah, for Rodon, hope he keeps going. I feel bad for him. Because of the rain out, he's not going to be able to face the White Sox. He has not, since he left Chicago, he has not pitched in Chicago against the White Sox. And he was lined up to do so, but the rain out kind of took that out of the equation. So in all likelihood, I see no reason why I'd be pitching on 3 days rest. That, especially after throwing 110 pitches. So yeah, he lost out on that opportunity, unfortunately. So Ron Marinaccio comes on. Like I said, he was the designated 27th man. And Ron, look, like he deserves a chance. He's been good at the major league level this season. He's been good in AAA. It's kind of a numbers game, but Marinaccio does a really nice job, actually, and just kind of holding down Texas. And then, so yeah, he goes 2 1/3, 1 hit, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So yeah, like he's going to be one of those first guys that gets called up, no doubt about it. And then Jazz Chisholm Jr., he homers to give the Yankees an 8-0 lead. His 19th homer on the season. And then in the 9th inning, Tim Hill, the lefty, comes on, throws a scoreless 9th, and the Yankees shut out Texas 8-0. So, you're feeling pretty good. And in some ways, kind of, it's different, but similar to the Angel situation where you win the first game of a doubleheader, and all right, it feels like it's kind of smooth sailing, but not so fast. As Texas is able to return the favor in game 2, and this was, again, a straight single admission doubleheader, not a day-night. So they got this thing started about 30 minutes after the first game ended. And in this one, Stanton comes back into the lineup, Grisham out, which would have been the case whether he got hit or not. DJ LeMahieu in for Ben Rice at first base. And yeah, so the pitching matchup for this one was Garrett Cole against Cody Bradford. And this was ended up being a pretty good pitcher's duel. Bradford actually looked, and again, we know the Yankees have a tough time against lefties, and that was the case here. Bradford gets the win, improves to 4-0, and he goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. So pretty legit line right there. But Garrett Cole, this was extremely encouraging. 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. Really good stuff from him. Hoping that this can be something that can get him going. But what we're going to discuss here in a little bit, a curious decision, by Aaron Boone, and kind of not just him, right? Because there's more that goes into this, but we're going to discuss a situation that was a little bit curious on a couple of fronts. But yeah, this was a really bad outing for Luke Weaver, who had been good very recently. Because I feel like with Weaver, there was some struggles, but then like the last like few outings had been kind of like vintage Weave from this season. So yeah, Yankees do take that early lead in the second inning. It would be Chisholm with a single. He steals second, and then Glaber with an RBI single makes it 1-0. And the big spot for the Yankees to kind of break things open was the third, and they didn't do it. And they got lucky kind of, because Simeon makes an error on what should have been an easy double play off the bat of Soto. So first and third, 1 out. Judge, who was in a favorable count, at least at some point in this at bat, Judge hits into a 5-4-3 double play. And so in that moment, I'm thinking, yeah, like that could definitely come back to bite them, because you have a Texas team who honestly leaves this series in a very tough spot in the AL West. It was a very good weekend for the Astros and the Mariners, both getting sweeps. So Texas, yeah, like their hopes and dreams of, defending that World Series and making the playoffs are not looking very good. So, you could have kind of buried Texas in game 2 if Judge does some damage there. It doesn't happen. And the fourth inning, Texas does tie it up. They get a RBI single by Adolis Garcia. Now, Cole got a little bit screwed on the Nathaniel Lowe walk before that, but either way, Adolis Garcia RBI single, but then Cole ends up striking out the next 3 batters. So where things weren't looking great, he just locks it in and really takes that with him for the rest of the outing. Let's now go to the 6th. This is where things get interesting. So Garrett Cole's pitch count's at 87 going into the 6th. And they have him come out to start the 6th. And he gets Wyatt Langford out in a very innocent, easy pop out. He only threw 3 pitches. So now Cole's at 90 pitches, and they pull him. Now, last outing, he threw 91 pitches, and that was the one that was off of a 10-day break. This one was a little bit shorter rest. You're more just traditional, rest. It was from Sunday to Saturday. So just the odd thing for me is either don't have him start the 6th or just let him keep going. Why be so specific with it? That's just what doesn't make sense to me. And they have their reasons for that, right? Cole, Boone, they do, but what's the point there? I would have wanted Cole to keep going personally. He was looking so good, but it's I could also understand it more if they said, you know what, we're going to shut this down, 5 innings, good work, and move on. But what's the point? Yeah, we're going to have you face 1 batter, and you get him out. It'd be one thing all right, he got hit hard, okay, whatever. So just bizarre right there. And then what happens? Luke Weaver gets hit very hard. And we're going to talk about a really key play that was kind of the turning point of this game. So Nathaniel Lowe single, Adolis Garcia single, and then here's the play that really kind of changes the tone. First and second, 1 out. Leody Taveras hits a line drive to right field, and Juan Soto makes an unbelievable attempt of a diving catch. The ball actually goes into his glove, but it does fall out at the end. So now, but Soto is alert enough to throw it into Glaber, who throws it to third to try to get the forset of Nathaniel Lowe. Now, the throw beats Lowe by a mile, but for some reason, Jazz Chisholm doesn't have his foot in the bag for the force out, and he's going to try to tag Lowe. And originally they call him out, but upon review, he was safe. And Chisholm's foot was not on the bag. I was hoping that maybe it was touching the bag. It didn't. So Chisholm thought that, apparently he thought that Soto caught the ball and Lowe was tagging up to go from second to third. I guess I could. I mean, look, I think I do think that he's being genuine. Clearly, like obviously, Chisholm is trying to win he's trying to win the game. Obviously, but it is a little bit hard to believe that like he didn't see the ball left Soto's glove. Either way, very frustrating because like that. You could be looking at first and second 2 out. Instead, it's bases loaded 1 out. Just a total game changer on a play where Soto lays out and almost made just a beautiful catch. So, yeah, Jazz needs to be more alert there and know the situation, and he didn't. And then here's where Weaver really messes up big time. Carson Kelly, who is unequivocally the worst hitter in the lineup. He's batting ninth. He's not a terrible offensive hitting catcher. Maybe not so much now than he had been maybe in previous years, but it's a 4-pitch walk. And I think those two were probably teammates in Arizona. But Weaver 4-pitch walks Kelly. That just cannot happen. It makes it 2-1. And then the former Yankee prospect Josh Smith hits a sac fly to make it 3-1. So not great, but you're still there. And then here's the dagger. Corey Seager with a 3-run bomb, his 25th homer of the year. It's off of Weaver and just a disaster situation where Cole was cruising along. They take him out. Weaver fucks up. You have that whole Chisholm situation, and now it's a 6-1 game. Michael Tonkin comes on, and for him, things didn't get all that much better. In the 7th, it's a 2-out rally. He was actually looking okay, but then you have Lowe single, Garcia single, 2-run double Tavares, RBI single Kelly, and then actually you get another single by Smith, and then Seager lines out. So for Tonkin, not the greatest of outings. The lines on Weaver and Tonkin pretty ugly. More so for Weaver, but yeah, not good for either of them. So the score right there is 9-1. Then in the 8th, Mark Leiter Jr. comes on, and for him, a decent outing. We're going to talk about him more as it comes to Game 3. Bottom of the 8th, Yankees score a couple of runs. It was a 2-out situation for them. A Judge Walker and Stanton. It's his first homer since coming back from the IL. It's his 19th homer of the year. Just a classic Stanton center field, just Stantonian blast to make it 9-3. And then it's actually back-to-back homers. Jazz Chisholm homers again. So for him, I believe that was homers in 3 straight games. His 20th homer of the year reaches the 2020 club. So 20 homers, and he actually has 25 steals. So it makes it 9-4. And then in the 9th, Tommy Kahnle comes on, throws a 1-2-3 inning. Kahnle, for my money, out of the high leverage guys, he's been the best one of late and the most consistent. Kahnle. Yankees do not score in the bottom 9th against former friend David Robertson. So, Yankees lose 9-4. They split the doubleheader, and now they go for the series winning Game 3, the rubber game, and they do get it. And this was a very eventful game, more so than I think anyone wanted it to be or thought that it should be. But, Yankees win it 8-7. And Marcus Stroman's a pretty big story here. Now, look, I still don't want or think that Stroman should be anywhere near that postseason rotation, but hey, credit where it's due. He goes 5 innings, 4 hits, just 1 run, 3 walks, and a strikeout. And in fact, the run was actually an inherited run. I believe. No, that's not true. That's actually not true. He was the one that allowed it. But Stroman improves to 8-6. So, hey, all in all, the underlying numbers are pretty ugly for Stroman, but look, 8-6 with a 4.01 ERA, it could be worse. So he does that. And then for Texas, it was former Yankee Andrew Heaney, who he's just had a lot of bad luck. He doesn't get a whole lot of run support. Texas did eventually get that later on, but Heaney's loss drops into 4-12. He goes 4 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. Not a great outing for him. Let's see. Yankees, they do jump out, take the lead in the first inning, and it would be Verdugo reaching on a throwing error. Judge gets a single with 1 out, and then it's first and third, 1 out, and Giancarlo Stanton, it's a sac fly. So Stanton comes through, makes it 1-0 right there. And now we go to the 3rd. Yankees score 1 more run, and that's thanks to Juan Soto, lefty, first homer of the day, 29th of the season, makes it 2-0 Yanks. Then in the bottom of the 5th, Yankees break it open. And it would be a LeMahieu single, Verdugo single makes it first and third. And then it looked like it was going to get bad. Soto lines out to first and Verdugo's doubled off. So, like, where it seemed like the Yankees were ready to kind of, increase that lead, now you don't know. Heaney intentionally walks Judge, and they bring on Jose Leclerc for Heaney to face Stanton. So walking Judge, it makes sense. They bring on the righty to face Stanton. Now, the interesting thing is that Leclerc, I didn't mention this, but the day before, he gave up a double to Stanton. And what do you know this time? Judge still second during the at-bat, so it's second and third, 2 out. Stanton crushes a 3-run homer to give the Yankees a 5-0 lead at Stanton's 20th homer of the season. That's a big one. That's a big Stanton homer. Gives Yanks 5-0 lead. Stroman in the 6th. Josh Smith walk, RBI double Seager, and that would be all for Stroman. He's out, but a good outing for him. It's 5-1. Jake Cousins comes on, and Cousins look good. Cousins has strikeout ability. Like, he has gained a definite role in this bullpen. Is he susceptible to the home run ball every now and then? Yes, he is. But he strikes out the side and keeps it at 5-1. So Matt Festa comes on in the 6th, and the Yankees would score a run thanks to a little bit of some shoddy Texas defense. Glaber gets a single, but it was kind of a fortunate one. Then Chisholm Jr. singles. Volpe's unable to get the run in. Chisholm steals second during the LeMahieu at bat, and LeMahieu gets the job done. He gets a sac fly to make it a 6-1 Yankee lead. Then in the top of the 7th, it's a single for Garcia off of Cousins. They bring on Canely. Kind of unlucky. After a pop out by Tavares, Carson Kelly singles on a play where Chisholm Jr. is charging in from third and kind of bobbles it. But to be fair to him, it was hit pretty softly. I don't know that they were getting him out either way. Then a very nice bunt single by Josh Smith makes the bases loaded. Canely gets Corey Seager to strike out, and then it looked like he had a ground out to end the inning against Marcus Semien. It might have been Anthony Volpe's ball at short, but Chisholm, and I don't blame him for it. He goes in front of him, tries to field the ball, but it goes off of his glove and into the outfield and 2-run score. So those are unearned runs charged to Cousins and Canely, and it makes it 6-3, and then Canely gets Young to ground out. Again, I think Canely's been pretty steady for a while now. But then Yankees respond with what would turn out to be a couple of really big homers. Soto homers again, 30th homer of the year, and another one off of a lefty, this time Andrew Chafin. And then Aaron Judge hits his 42nd home run of the year. So not to be outdone, Judge, hits his 42nd. I think it's going to be tough for him to reach 60. I'm not even talking about 62, but just the 60 mark. But again, that's still in play. So Yankees take an 8-3 lead. We go to the 8th, and Mark Leiter Jr. struggles. And, when looking at his Yankee tenure so far, it hasn't been great. And I think he'll be okay. I like what he brings to the table, but let's just be honest. There's been struggles for Leiter Jr. And hey, it's a new team, new league, different surroundings and this and that. So I get it, but hey, let's call a spade a spade. Like, it hasn't been smooth sailing at all. So with 1 out, he allows a homer to Nate Lowe. Originally, he was Nate Lowe with Tampa, and then during his Texas career, it's Nathaniel. But yeah, 10th homer of the year makes it 8-4. And then with 2 out, Leiter walks Tavares, then allows a 2-run homer to Carson Kelly, makes it 8-6. And then he allows a double to Josh Smith. So Clay Holmes has to come in for the 4-out save, and that would have there'd be pretty serious ramifications from a pitch count standpoint. But Leiter Jr. does not get the job done at all. He came into an 8-3 game, and he leaves at 8-6 with a runner on second. Luckily, though, Holmes does get Seager to ground out. Let's go to the top of the 9th. And it starts out well for Holmes. He strikes out Semien. He strikes out Young. And then it kind of all comes undone for Clay Holmes. And this is the concern from Yankee fans. And I know that, look, I'm not asking him to be like, I hate when people bring up Mariano. Like, that's just another Mariano is just another category in and of itself. I'm not looking for him to be, Emmanuel Clase or I'm trying to think of some of the, Andres Munoz comes to mind. And there are some legitimate Edwin Diaz, like when he's on his game. You just want a little bit of more consistency and just, the ability to not make things so stressful. And he does. Wyatt Langford walks. Then Nathaniel Lowe walks. And mind you, the pitch count is just going up and up and up. First and second, 2 out. Adolis Garcia dunks a single, an RBI single into center field, makes it 8-7. First and third, 2 out. Then during the Leody Taveras at bat, Adolis Garcia steals second. So it's second and third, 2 out. And Tim Hill is warming up, the lefty. Taveras is a switch hitter. And Clay Holmes, on a full count on his 45th pitch, is able to get Taveras to ground out to second. Gleyber Torres, I don't know how, stumbles on an easy ground ball, but he's able to recover and get the out. And the Yankees are able to hold on to win the series. And it's an 8-7 victory for the Yankees. Their record goes to 70-49. They are tied atop the AL East with the Orioles. Now the Yankees go to Chicago to take on the White Sox. And look, I'm not one to be greedy, but against this White Sox team who did, which I'm glad about from a Yankee standpoint, because I think it would have been really embarrassing for the Yankees to lose off, from the losing streak. But yeah, the White Sox who had, 21, 22 game losing streak. It snapped. They got a win against Oakland during the week. But look, this is a very bad team. Really bad. Their record is 28-91. That's like unheard of. 28-91. So the first matchup, and really all the matchups, should favor the Yankees. It'll be Luis Gil against Kai Busch, a left-handed starter who's making his home debut, his second start of his major league career. And, I think teams are going to be smart. And maybe it just lines up this way. It probably lines up, but the teams should have lefties against the Yankees. That, to me, in the playoffs, that should be where they lean to. But Luis Gil, what comes to mind for me with this White Sox matchup is he actually, unfortunately, in the start of the 2022 season, he made, I believe, one start. I want to confirm this. And if it wasn't one start, I'll still make the point. It was one start. It was against the White Sox. It wasn't a great one. And out of that game, you find out that Luis Gil was injured, and we wouldn't see him again until this season. So it took Luis Gil basically out of the mix for like almost two full seasons. So for him, it's just, I don't know if anyone, in fact, I doubt anyone will bring it up, but for me, it comes to mind. And so, hopefully a little bit of redemption for Luis Gil in this outing. Game 2 will be Nestor Cortez, who's been struggling lately, against Jonathan Cannon, a young pitcher for the White Sox who's actually been pitching pretty well. The numbers are pretty solid. So, yeah, we'll see what comes of that. And then game 3, it's TBD for the Yanks. And I tend to think they may go bullpen game because I'm thinking about it in terms of there's not that many open roster spots. So it's not like a simple matter of, okay, we're going to call up a starter. Who are you sending down? Right? Unless there's an injury. That's another thing. But if they're healthy, I think they're going to try to just make it work with a bullpen game, especially considering that there's a day off the next day. So if they're able to get some good work from Gil and Cortez, which we don't know, but if they can, I think that's their preference. And the starter for the White Sox in that game 3 will be Davis Martin. So, yeah, I don't think many people, me, myself, have heard of really any of these White Sox starters, but you're looking for the sweep. They're that bad. I'm sorry. 2 out of 3, that is the so bare minimum that you can do against the White Sox team. I think, you got to sweep them. So now they start a 6-game road trip. They will then head to Detroit to take on the Tigers, and then that actually ends up with the third game being a Sunday night baseball game in Williamsport in celebration of the Little League World Series. So that'll be kind of cool to see the Yankees in that. We've never seen them in that before, which has probably been going on now for, I don't know, some range of probably 5 to 10 years. Probably more than 5, but I think probably less than 10. So yeah, that'll be kind of cool. But that's then. The Yankees will head from the Bronx to Chicago to take on the White Sox. And what hopefully should be a good series for them. And the Yankees end the homestand 5-4. They are able to hold on to take the series against the Texas Rangers.